Hello, everyone. Welcome to PPC Roundtable episode 5, brought to you by Regrow Media. Now, in this episode, we are going to find what is the cheapest match type available right now in 2024 that you can advertise for. Now, I know there's a lot of questions. Kisme kam paisa jayega? So today we are going to find and look at different level of ad spend per month, starting from 30 lakhs a month in ad spend, going to 10 lakhs a month. Then we are going to go a little bit lower, 2 lakhs a month, and we are going to see at which level they are, where they are spending maximum in match type, and what is the cheapest match type that is performing for them. So, without further ado, let me introduce our team members here. So, let's welcome Mrs. Sandeep, our founder, along with me, and Afan, our PPC director. Hello, guys. How are you joining? How are you doing?
Hey Samir,
Hello, guys.
I'm good.
I'm good. How are you?
Great, great, great. Thank you guys for joining. So, without further ado, I think the audience is waiting for this. Let's share the screen and get into the main stuff here.
Right. Okay. So
Good.
this is a brand which has around 30 lakh of ad spend, right? Monthly ad spend we're talking about, and we will be discussing basically the match types in sponsored product ad type, right? Uh, we have all the stats here like impression, clicks, spend, sales, orders, units. ACOS is calculated, conversion rate, cost per acquisition, and then we have spend share and sales share, right? So all of these metrics, these KPIs are required to determine whether we are performing good in a certain match type or we are not, right? So let's just jump into the discussion. We can see that we have around 188,000 clicks. The total spend is around 28 lakh. Sales is 11 million, right? So if we talk about the distribution of spend, we can see that let me just show you the spend share. We can see that around 57% of our budget is being spent towards just one single match type, that is exact match type. Let me just freeze this as well. Anyways, uh, we can see here that the majority of the budget is being spent on exact match type. The thing is, we are performing, I mean, the average ACOS of this brand is around 25%, right? It's not bad, but considering the volume, the sales volume of this brand, I mean, it's just it's just the PPC sales, right? It's just the ad sales. We're not talking about organic sales right now. We're just analyzing the match types. Considering this, uh, a brand having this much volume of sales should not be spending 57% of their budget on just a single match type, and that too exact match type, right? So I just feel, and it's a fact, obviously, that this brand has limited the sales channels, using these exact keywords, right? Exact match type. Just imagine now. Just look at the sales share and spend share of the broad and phrase. So in row number 5 we have broad. 18% is the spend share, 22% is the shale share, right? The ACOS is 20% in the broad match type, right? There's a straight away 9% of difference, right? Just imagine if we had been spending around 20-30%, 30 to 35% of our budget in the broad match type at this ACOS, at this conversion rate, at this cost per acquisition, right? We would be getting so much more sales than what we are doing right now. Just look at the cost per acquisition, right? We have the highest CPA in the exact match type, regardless of the fact that we are spending most of the budget on it, and we are generating most of the sales through it, right? So this is something that we really need to do, because again, determining when to use a certain match type is really really hard, right? For the sellers, right? Sometimes. Okay, so the thing is, the brand having this much ad sales volume, right? So this brand is doing 11 million sales, just ad sales, and that too in a monthly basis, right? uh, Such brand is spending around 57% of their budget on, just exact match
Hmm.
campaigns, right? So this exercise has limited the sales channels, right? The number of keywords through which traffic comes to this brand. They have just limited, that amount, right? So using these exact match campaigns. Now, if we compare the metrics, the KPIs of exact match with the broad match, it's something like this, right? First of all, just have a look at the CPA. The CPA in exact match is around 220 rupees, right? So we are paying 220 rupees to secure an order, right? In PPC, we are just paying 168 rupees in broad match type to secure an order, right? Just have a look at the ACOS. Our ACOS is around 30% in exact match type, and it's just 21% in the broad match type, right? There is a difference of 9%. Now, if you look at the conversion rate, surprisingly, our conversion rate in broad match type is slightly higher than what it
Hmm.
is in the exact match type. So these KPIs are clearly telling me that we really need to shift our spend from exact match type towards these discovery campaigns like broad modifier, catch all campaigns, or even phrase campaigns, right? Because if we look, of course our conversion rate is slightly uh, lower in the phrase match campaigns, but we are not doing that bad acos, right? uh, just
Yeah,
look
that
at
that
the
was what I was thinking into, because it looks like the conversion rate is normal, not so normal than normal, like average. It is a little bit lower than what normal market standard is, right?
yeah.
Around 7%, again 5% for phrase. I think it should be a little bit more for them as well, right?
Mhm. Yeah, but honestly, if a brand has this much sales volume, if a brand has 52 million impressions, that too in 1 month, I don't think so. That the conversion rate matters to that extent. Yes,
Hmm.
it matters, but if a brand is getting so much traffic, it doesn't even matter for the brand that what amount of conversion rate that they are getting. I mean, it's just my personal experience, right?
Got it.
So.
So now here comes the main point. Let's come to the conclusion
Mhm.
here. What is the cheapest match type for this particular brand? Now I'll give you a context about this brand. This brand is Amazon focused brand. They are not so famous outside of Amazon. They are not funded. They are not having so much marketing challenge outside of Amazon. No brand ambassador like Virat Kohli or anything other than that. So let's come to the conclusion. What is the cheapest match type we identified for this particular brand?
Well, to determine that, we just need this one column, right? Cost per acquisition.
Hmm.
So the cheapest, right now, the cheapest match type is in targeting, but obviously
Okay.
we don't consider that. Keeping that in view, broad match is the cheapest match type, because we are spending some considerable amount of money on it, like 18% of our total budget, and it's getting us orders at the lowest CPA, right? We are paying the lowest amount of money to get an order in the broad match type campaign. Just to add to what you have just mentioned, that this is a totally Amazon focused brand and they do not have any offline presence. I think they are doing disasters by focusing more towards exact match campaigns,
Hmm.
because for a brand which is just focusing on Amazon, getting as much visibility, getting as much brand presence on Amazon should be their first hand focus, right? And unfortunately this brand is not doing that. So
Okay.
rather than focusing on these highly relevant exact keywords, focus more toward the discovery campaigns, which could increase the visibility and the traction towards your brand. So you can
Yeah.
easily take this 52 million impressions figure to somewhere around 70 to 80 million, just by shifting your spend from exact toward phrase and broad, right?
Yeah,
It's that
that
easy.
is what I'm going to ask you. Sorry to cut you here. So one top two suggestions for this brand that you want to give to the brand owner.
The first, start working on your offline presence of Amazon presence, and the second, shift your spend from exec to discovery campaigns. When I say discovery campaigns, it's not just typical phrase and broad campaigns. There are so many more categories in these two match types, so explore all of them.
Got it.
I'd like to also
Mhm.
come in and give a couple of suggestions here for somebody listening this and seeing that ASIN targeting performing better than rest of them means the offer is better than most of the competition. When I say offer, I mean the pricing or the reviews or the images. They've got something moving for them. That is the reason they are able to do better than ASIN is doing the best here. Reason being, so they should also be considering that they continue to spend on ASIN targeting because they have better offer than rest. And second thing is they can explore broad, of course, because as I think it has already been discussed, so broad is something that they should be moving towards. Take some spend out of that 57% that they are spending on exact, and give it to broad, of course, to phrase as well, because phrase is underutilized, I believe. So they can also give it to phrase, but broad should be. So these two things I would suggest, that continue building on ASIN targeting and take your spend towards broad.
Yeah, exactly. I think here the broad, because Amazon doesn't segment and give us data or specific to broad modifier, it comes under the broad match type. And since this data that you are seeing is segregated on match type level, that also makes sense that the broad modifier might be working good for this brand as well, which we are going to come later on as well to show you what is the importance of broad modifier. Now, more into it, I think here it is a time to move to the second brand, which is spending 10 lakhs a month. And let's look and find what is the cheapest match type and how they are doing.
Yeah. So this is now we are looking at another account which has a budget of about 10 lakhs a month on Amazon India. If you look at the data here, you will see that the grand total their spend is more than 10 lakhs, which is almost 11 lakhs. But the business that they are doing is almost under 2 lakhs. So you can clearly see that they are way too aggressive with respect to their spend. The category that they operate is again is something which is a repeat purchase category, which is like a hair oil kind of a category. So if we are in such kind of a category, then you are likely to see CPCs as higher as you see here, almost 50 rupees CPCs. And if the product itself is about, let's say, 200 or 300 rupee, 50 rupee CPC, 6 clicks if you have got, so we have gone surpassed 300 rupee mark. So that is the reason we see a way higher ACOS. However, that does not justify the spend and the sales number that we see. By looking at it from the first thing, what anybody would say is that they are spending way too much than what they should be, because it does not make sense for anybody to burn at this rate, where we are spending 11 lakhs and getting almost under 2 lakhs of a business. So if we further look at their match types, so all of the match types, if we explore, we can see that every time if you go towards exact in such categories, the CPC is likely to be the highest. Here also, if you see the exact, the CPC is the highest, it is 55 rupees. So such categories going exact, you have to be very careful what kind of keywords are you going for, because if you go for generic keywords, let's say for example hair oil, so this is like a very direct keyword, very generic keyword. And if I am a new entrant into the category, someone like this particular brand, then there are huge humongous players who are sitting already, who have a very good presence, plus they have their branded presence, because of which they are able to get a lot of business. So they can invest on something like that, where they can go for such direct keyword. But for a brand like this, if you see, even the highest, one of the highest ACOS is the exact match. So I think match type wise, exact is something that you have to be very careful with. Don't just mistaken it with any other category where we go for our ranking campaigns. Such categories you have to be careful when you go for exact match. Same can be looked at again for ASIN targeting here, because unless I have a very good offer, what we just looked previously in the previous brand where the spend was 30 lakhs, here if you see, ASIN targeting is not performing as good. It's actually one of the worst performance that we see in terms of ASIN targeting. The reason being, as we had said there, that the offer was so good. When I say offer, I mean again the pricing and the reviews and the actual product that the customer is going to get, and the creatives and everything. Here if you can see, the ACOS is so high, it's almost 900% for ASIN targeting. Okay, so again, here they have to be careful that can they actually do async targeting at all, unless they have some advantage over their competition. Either it has to be in terms of pricing or in terms of reviews, or some competition, the brand has, in order to be very direct. Exact and async is like very direct when we go. So that we have to be careful with. So if I were suggesting them, I would tell them to be careful, because exact, they have almost spent 50% of their money, 4.6 lakhs spent on exact. They could save a lot of money there. Almost 1 lakh is being spent on async targeting. They can save money there also. So they have to reduce their spending in both of these, and then look at other targetings, because other are little broader traffic, where I have a scope where I can be present and be visible to more customers who are there on the platform. Now, category like this has a journey for a customer. So customer has a journey where they have, considering awareness, all of those stages, and then they come to where they can make a purchase, and then there is a repeat purchase, loyalty kind of a stage. So this brand has to be they have to be aware that uh, unless they have been in front of a customer before somewhere, okay, it can be on an Amazon or off Amazon, it is very difficult for them to get a sale out of it. And that is what is duplicated here in CPA column. So if you see their cost per acquisition, the product cost that they have is around 200-300 rupees. The CPA itself, you can see, is almost touching the roof, which is like 1,000 and beyond. That is because they are trying to be in front of a customer in all the stages on Amazon platform, which is very difficult to do. If we do something like that, this is what the result is going to be. So rather, what they should be doing is take their budget and use that off Amazon. Okay, it can be either social media, it can be influencer, it can be Meta ads, Google ads, whatever platform they can use, that they should be spending there over a period of time, and then expect that they can get a better results here. Otherwise, this cost per acquisition is something which is which cannot justify the product pricing around 200-300, and the acquisition itself for a customer is 1,200 or 1,300. Even at this rate, expecting a repeat purchase is not going to save us. Okay, a lot of the times we go aggressive in such categories, expecting that we are going to have a repeat purchase over a period of time, which can help me bring my TAC cost down. Okay, cost is higher, but TAC cost down. But this is like a very high burn rate, not something that would be suggested. And so in this category, match type, if you see, broad is the way to go. Broad modifier, as we have discussed, is the way to go. Maybe a little bit of auto, phrase, these things, broader traffic we can do, unless I have my branded terms to support me. If I have branded terms, then I can be very exact and I can spend more. Until then, I think it is off Amazon is the key. Let me just also show you how the match type works. So let me just share my screen.
The funny thing is, I remember I was in the call with Mr. Sandeep with this brand, and this brand owner was asking how to improve more in this because they were close to a next fundraising. So they wanted quick results. So Mr. Sandeep, I remember he suggested to go and approach some micro influencers to get some outside traffic, get some outside presence, awareness outside. And I think this was cool, but the brand owner was constantly asking to push the ads because obviously they were moving towards the next fundraising, right? So again, Mr. Sandeep also shared about broad modifier as a way for this brand. So I think we should share you some study about or examples about broad modifier, how you can use broad modifiers the right way. And after that, soon after that, we are moving towards a 50,000 USD per month account. How it is performing? What is the cheapest one?
So as we were talking about the match types in keyword targeting, so we can see that most of us are very much aware about the exact. So exact is like kid shoes. Another addition to this will be shoes for kids. Even if we have something like that, Amazon, I've seen in systems that Amazon targets that as well. Let's say a customer system is shoes for kids, Amazon may target that as well. So exact is like very direct. We are being very direct. So Amazon is targeting that. A phrase, as we understand, it has to be just in this order where we can have front or back, we can have other different terms. So this is a customer system, something like, keyword with laces will also be triggered for a phrase match keyword shoes. Now, interesting part is between broad and broad modifier. Abroad, if we have kid shoes, so now what we have seen in especially in brand, also sometimes in products, sponsored brand and sponsored products, that Amazon has started evolving and started targeting something like children's shoes, because end of the day, kids and children are synonyms. So Amazon has started targeting this. So brand, it is very much visible, but you may also find such results in product, sponsored product as well. Kids footwear is also like one of the example, because now shoes and footwear are kind of a synonym. Now, for me to restrict such ad spend, because since Amazon has introduced something like this, so what Amazon has given is broad modifier. I had heard it that this was available in Google, which was again removed by the Google after some time, but don't quote me on that, but I've heard it in one of the podcast. So broad modifier with plus sign before every single word that we have, what we can do is we can force Amazon to go broad, but use these two words in the terms. Now Amazon cannot use synonyms, or the algorithm cannot decide for itself if there is anything which is relevant as per them. So we are restricting them, and we are telling them use them within the search term. So these have to be there. So what it means is, exact we know, very direct. Phrase, we know we have little bit of flexibility. Broad is too much flexible, so somewhere between phrase and broad, we can say we have a broad modifier. So it's between the two, where we are enforcing these two words. Now what can happen is, if I have a bunch of words that I know are very relevant for my product, so I can use them, and also not worry about a lot of about wasted ad spend. Because broad, a lot of the times we have seen that we get a lot of wasted ad spend. So we can be smart there and use broad modifier. Nothing changes, everything remains same. The only thing that changes is plus sign in front of it. If we start doing this, we can expect a more relevant traffic as compared to broad, and also a better result, a better conversion.
Definitely. I think that was a great demonstration of how and when you can use broad modifier. Now it is a time to move on to our third brand, which is spending 50,000 USD per month in ad spend. Let's look at what is the cheapest match type in that account. Yeah, fun.
Okay. So obviously, the table that we are looking at has data from the last 2 months, right? The ad spend is around 104,000 per month. This brand is spending around 50K. Uh, we can the one thing that we can observe here is that this brand is exploring all of the options that are available. But again, if we look at the spend share and sale share, we can see that the spend is directed toward just these two match types, right? First one is auto, the second is exact match type. The thing is, again, I would say, just like we discussed in the first tab, uh, if a brand is having this much volume of ad sales and this much volume of ad spend, it doesn't even need to go with the exact match type, right? Unless it is a very branded, brand conscious, unless it's targeting very brand conscious keywords or something like that. uh, if not, then the brand doesn't have to focus that much towards exact campaigns. Yes, they are exploring ASIN targeting. Yes, they are working on ASIN expanded, auto, broad. They're doing some work in category targeting as well, exact and phrase as well. The good thing is that the acos that they are getting in almost all match type is okay, except for the exact match type. In exact, again, they're getting an acos of 37% with a 53% of spend share, right? Just imagine if the spend share on broad was around 20%, if the spend share on phrase was around 15%, their average acos would be somewhere around 24-25% rather than being 33%. Their conversion rate is superb, very good. uh, the CPA that they're getting is totally fine. Okay, the CPC is that they're getting 1.6 for average CPC. It's a very good CPC, at you know current times. So I think this brand is doing good. But again, the one mistake that they are making is that they're focusing too much towards exact campaign. They need to stop worrying about these organic rankings, and they need to start focus toward these discovery campaigns. They have to open as much sales channels. When I say sales channels, I mean they should get some rankings, maybe in the top 50 if not in the top 10, on various keywords, not just these limited keywords that they're targeting in exact match, right? So they need to focus on, again, on the broad match, because they are getting a good acquos, they are getting a good conversion rate, a good click through rate. But again, you know uh, the sale share and the spend share is not up to that mark.
Yeah, got it.
The one thing that I find particular here is exact is more about taking control, and
Mhm,
auto or abroad is more about losing control. So
mhm,
if I look at the spend that they have done, so it's like oxymoron.
mhm.
Exact, they have spent the most, and then the highest spend that they have is an auto. So one way
Yeah.
they are taking the control in their hand, and the other way they are giving control to the Amazon. So it is like difficult to understand what is the strategy behind spending so much on exact and then the auto. Had this been exact and asin, I understand maybe they are trying to have a control within themselves. Or if this was like auto and broad, then they are losing the control. Or if it was evenly balanced, then also. But here it's like quite peculiar that they have completely opposite, one hand exact, and then the other hand they have the auto at a number two.
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
yeah, I
What
think
one
one of the reasons.
suggestion would you give? One each. We can start with Sandeep. Sandeep ji, up. You can start.
My suggestion in this particular scenario will be to look at, if you are well placed, if your total sales is also as good as it is here in the PPC data. If we are doing really good in terms of total business, then my suggestion would be to leave exact, don't focus on it too much. The spend percentage is like 53%, that should drop and be somewhere around 20%, but not immediately. Of course, slowly and gradually they could do that, because they're not getting the same return as a percentage back. So lose there, and give it more to the a broader side again, where they can combine the broad modifier. So broad they should be going. They are already very broad, because if they are using auto, I'm assuming they are broad. So auto they are doing, but auto is again too much control given to the Amazon. Rather take a little bit of control in your hand, and also let it loose because of the broad. So exact to broad would be one suggestion that I would give them. And if they have a really good offer, again, like one of the previous case study that we were looking at, if that is possible, then they can also explore ASIN, if it is, because they have a good conversion rate in ASIN. ASIN and
Yeah.
ASIN expanded, if you see, both of them are really good in terms of conversion rate. So that means again they are able to convert better on their competition. I'm assuming it is the competition, not much of their own self targeting. So with that, that will be my another suggestion. So exact, say from exact to broad, and also to ASIN targeting.
Definitely. Yeah, fun. Let's move on to the next brand, which is spending close to 2.5 lakhs a month, I guess.
Yeah, so 235,000. Uh, okay, so when we talk about this brand,
Can
we
we
can
zoom it a
see.
little bit?
Is
Yeah.
it okay now?
Mhm.
Okay. All right. So if we talk about this brand, again, it's a self-care brand. Specifically, it deals in the baby products. Uh, the thing is, right now we have around 54 asins here, right, in the catalog, and we can see that they're spending almost every single asin, right? So most of the times when we are ordering a certain brand, we observe that if that brand has around 50 SKUs in their catalog, uh, they would only be spending on 4 to 5 or maybe 7, 8 asins, right, in their PPC. The other 42, 45 asins are completely ignored, and they are getting traffic out of just those 5 to 6 asins that are being advertised, right? I'm talking about the PPC traffic. So the good thing is that this brand is spending money on most of their SKUs, but uh, keeping this in view, they still need to make some modifications basically. So like, just like if we see this ASIN in row number 7, we can see that the spend share is around 1.3%, 5% of the total spend, and the sale share is just 0.1%, right? So, I mean, it indicates that we don't really need to spend any more amount of money than what we are already doing, right? On the other hand, if we talk about the ASIN in row number 12, we can see that we are spending around 1.5% of our total budget on this ASIN, and we are making around 2.5% in sales out of it, right? So, I mean, it's telling me that there is an opportunity. We can, there's an opportunity, and we totally can, scale it up. We should try to scale it up. Even if we just try to compare this ACOS in both of these ASINs, in row number 7 and in row number 12, we can see that the first ASIN is getting around 200%, more than 200% ACOS at a 4% conversion rate, right? And the second one that is performing really good is getting 11% ACOS at a 21% conversion rate, right? So yes, the budget is evenly distributed, but they need to figure out which ASINs to target, which ASINs not to target in their PPC. Again, hats off to the brand that they're doing this. Most of the brands doesn't even bother to take care of their other child variations. Now, if we move towards the match type analysis, we can see here that um, okay, let's just talk about the sale share and spend share first. uh, Obviously their average acquos is 18%. It indicates that this brand is doing really good in terms of PPC. If we talk about the sales and spend share, we can see that this brand is spending around 31% of their budget on broad match campaigns, and they're getting 38% of sales through these broad match campaigns, right? One thing that we need to notice is they are getting the lowest ACOS out of these broad match campaigns, and the highest conversion rate, right? The highest click through rate as well. This is something that an ideal brand would be doing, right? If we compare this brand with all other brands that we have discussed, there is a, I mean, the difference is massive, right, between their ad strategies, the way they operate, the way they handle their advertisement, and all that stuff. Even if we talk about the cost per acquisition in broad match, we need to pay the lowest amount of money to get the orders, even if the CPCs are the highest, right? Obviously, the CPC in ASIN targeting is the highest, but let's just forget that and let's talk about these four match types. Normally, the CPCs in the exact match types are the highest because the competition is the highest in this match type. But we can see here that despite having the highest CPCs among all other match types, this brand is getting the lowest CPA, the lowest ACOS, the highest conversion rate, and the highest click through rate, right? So that is something that is really remarkable. Again, if we talk about their budget allocation, we can see here that it's not like they're spending around 50% of their budget on one match type and 30-40% of their budget on another match type. The budget is evenly distributed among all other match types, right? So, and it's paying them off basically, right? They're spending around 235,000 rupee monthly on their PPC, and they're generating around 1.2, 1.3 million sales, ad sales out of it, right? So yep, hats off to the brand. They're doing really good work, keeping all of their KPIs in line, keeping all of their strategies in line, right? And having proper checks on all of these KPIs. Although if we talk about the ASIN targeting, they are having the highest ACOS, they are having the lowest sales share despite of a 15% spend share. But obviously that doesn't really matter when you are spending just 10 to 12% of your total budget on this match type. Obviously it can be controlled, but it's not that bad.
Yeah, you know what I have seen, and I am coming to the conclusion. It looks like that the boy who always sits in the back bench, who always suffers from the hatred of the teacher, is now topping the class. So looks like the
Yeah.
coins have turned, and broad match is performing better than exact, which was always considered to be the best match type. What would you
Yeah.
say, Mr. Sandeep?
So true. That is true. The ASIN targeting, I am surprised why it is not doing for them. If they have this volume, let's say, for example, advertising, they're doing about 12, 13 lakhs. I'm assuming total sales, they are doing double of that, which is about 25 lakhs. So if they are about that range, why is the ASIN targeting not working for them? Second thing, are they doing defense in ASIN or not? Because if they were doing defense, then they wouldn't see this kind of a number that they're seeing right now. So
Mhm.
that will be something that I'll be curious to know if they are doing their defensive targeting in their product targeting or not, to know whether it is working for them. Other than that, I think they are doing really good job. Uh, a category like this, again, this is one of the category which is a repeat purchase category, which is like a personal care kind of a brand for baby niche. Their broad is usually, what we have learned is working better than any other. So if they had done the same mistake that other hair care brand was doing, where they had invested everything in the exact, we would not see the numbers here the way we see it. So this is something that maybe either they have the strategy in place, or they have stumbled upon it and now they are continuing to it. So it's something good to see.
Yeah, definitely. So, if you're someone who's watching this video, if you want to audit your brand similar to this, make sure you comment below Amazon audit. We have a full step-by-step video prepared. We'll share the resource with you. Also, let us know in the comment section which match type is your favorite. Now, I'll be the first person to comment their broad modifier. Now, let me know what is your favorite as well in the comment section. Now, guys, thank you so much for joining today. I think we made our conclusion, and we two or we three now conclude that broad modifier, or that is the main match type that we are considering right now to put our bets on. So, thank you so much, guys, for joining today. And if if viewers have any questions, make sure you write that down in the comment section, or you can also reach out to us on the email address that is being visible in the screen as well. Thank you so much. I'll see you again in next PPC Roundtable videos.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.